Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Happy Hour Gamedev. I'm your host for this week, Community Content Manager Jared Huckaby. And if for any reason you haven't seen a Happy Hour before, Happy Hour is our weekly Friday live stream where we sit down with developers from Cloud Imperium Games and Foundry 42 to discuss the inner workings of the creation of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Joining us this week on our Happy Hour Game Dev variant is lead level designer from Foundry 42 Frankfurt, Andreas and Tobias Johansson. How you guys doing?
Good. I've been a little bit nervous, but good.
That's all good.
Right. So, Andreas and Tobias, you're from Foundry 42 Frankfurt. You're both on the level design team. You both sit directly next to each other. You are both Johanssons. There's no relation.
There's no relations, but I mean, in Sweden you only have like 4 names to choose from, so it's like Johansson, Andersson, Svensson, and Borg. So
Yeah,
It's kind of like our Johnson or Smith here in the States. Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. So you guys, like I said, you guys are from the level design team at Foundry 42 Frankfurt, and recently at CitizenCon, our most recent CitizenCon, it was just 2 weeks ago now. Was it just 2 weeks? Yeah, just 2 weeks ago. Wow. Seems like it's forever now. We had a number. Not only did we have a lot of panels, we had the 5 panels before the keynote and whatnot. We had a number of demos going in our tech gallery atrium. We had folks creating a weapon live. We had folks doing the faceware scanning. You two were involved in designing a location demo at CitizenCon, right?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. We were showing how the outposts were created from start to finish, pretty much.
Okay, and
I mean, sorry.
No, absolutely. Go ahead. Go.
I mean, we've done a couple of YouTube videos on ATV and such about locations before, where we showed very early stages of the Surface Outposts. So we always think it's kind of interesting to revisit them and see how it's developed and how it's what the process is and what they look like now.
Of course. So we thought, since you did this wonderful demo for 700 people at CitizenCon, the vast majority of the community didn't get a chance to see it. So you agreed to come on the show and do the demo live for us. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Yeah,
okay.
So a lot of questions as well. So
yes.
Keep them coming.
All right. So guys, folks watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, we do simulcast on both. We are taking questions live from the Twitch chat. So if you do want to submit questions during the demonstration here, you can go to twitch.tv/StarCitizen and enter your questions there. Please preface your question with the word "question" surrounded in brackets. It's just going to help me pull it out from all the other conversation that's going on in Twitch chat. If you've never seen a Twitch chat before, you're in for a treat. All right, so Tobias, Andreas, start us off. Where do we begin with designing a location?
So always we start by creating a document. We get a request from someone here saying like we need a location that should have this, this, and this, and there's like several goals with them. And with that Surface Outpost, it was what is the absolute smallest thing we would use to, populate a planet or populate a moon or whatever location that still works in a game. All
right. Now there are how many different types of outposts are there?
So we're gonna have in 3.0. There's a mining variation. There's a shelter, hydroponics, a stash house, a drug lab.
Abandoned.
Yeah, abandoned, and I think that's the ones we have for 3.0.
Yeah, I mean, we will have a lot of other ones as well.
Yes.
In Star Citizen, because it all depends on, if you look at Surface Outpost, it is modular. That is the entire approach we take into most of our locations.
Yes.
So kind of the purpose of a Surface Outpost is determined by what you put inside it. So if it has a lab for growing plants and fields outside, then it is a hydroponic. So yeah, so it's quite a dynamic kind of category.
Yeah, it's an important point not to always keep in mind. 3.0 is our initial rollout of the system. This is the very beginnings of our Surface Outpost system. So so what you're going to say, and there are hundreds in 3.0, right? There's how many on each planet? Or each moon, rather?
On each moon, it's about 50 locations with them, but in some of them, there's a cluster of them. So there could be like 3 in one location, which means, there's more actual outposts.
Gotcha.
I mean, with the 3.0 as well, because we're releasing the procedural planets, it becomes a test bed for us as well. Because to be honest, we don't really know if we need 50 or 5,000 on a planet to make it feel decent. So we have to start somewhere.
Start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So the floor is yours, guys. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to be on this trip like a passenger here. Okay. So I'll chime in when I see some questions, but you guys take it away.
Cool. So should we talk a bit about maybe the template tileset first of all that we kind of developed?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like so this is one of the Surface Outpost variations you're gonna be able to find. But when we start building a location, we always start with this template tileset that I think you showed when you were on an ATV earlier as well, like in images.
Some time ago.
So you see, like it has this very particular pink/purple color on the sides and such, and that means it should be covered up. If we pull this up a little bit, you're going to see a better example. You see it here. So we know that the core floor covers that area because that follows then our metric that we need to make sure we use on everything.
I mean, one of the challenges we had as well because we basically started from scratch, and we had to develop this template tileset as well, which is what sizes do we go with? Do we go with 3 meters, 4 meters, 6 meters? It all depends. So it's quite a process to kind of figure out what is the best and the most scalable sizes of these tiles, and can we use them to actually put together the stations and locations that we want. Because this is we want to use the same modular system across the board, right? It doesn't matter if you build a small location or a gargantuan space refinery. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And this, as I was showing while he was talking, it's like we have so different pieces, and we have, for example, a window on to make sure that we can place like a window and say like we would like a window here because this helps this, or this is needed for this, or just because it's a nice view.
Is it a nice view?
This is kind of a nice view. I wouldn't complain about it.
That's all right. We'll go there later.
It's a fine view. And then they all follow the smallest we have is 1 meter, I think, in the template tileset, if I don't misremember.
1 to 4,
yeah, exactly. And that's just so we make sure, like, because in a game, you need to know that the player can fit and doesn't like get stuck on corners and stuff like that. And by using this template tileset, that helps us make sure of that without having to like go to intensive testing every location we build, right?
Yes, a lot of the early work in Star Citizen for that first year and a half was discovering what our metrics were. A lot of the things we built, we didn't have metrics because that's part of game development. You have to figure out what your metrics are, and there's nothing more frustrating than you building something and then having every character hit their heads on the top of the doorways.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a question in the chat real quick. It says, what software are we using? This is the Lumberyard game editor. This is the game editor that we make Star Citizen in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's a pretty good engine.
Yeah, I mean, you can also see it here, like that. It's
if they can see that.
What you're using.
Too small.
Maybe true.
So I mean, with our Surface Outpost, this is pretty much how it looks like when we level designers build it. We pretty much design the shape of the rooms as small pieces, and we slot them together. So it's not a very interesting view at the moment. It's gray walls, gray ceilings, gray floor.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can experiment with, if you have multiple stories or if you have different shapes of the rooms, and then we use that as a base for the art that goes in there.
Yeah, and I mean, it also makes it, because when it's pretty, it's very easy to look at it and be like, oh, this is so cool. But when you actually run around in it, then it's like, oh, there's nothing.
We don't care about pretty, we care about function.
Exactly, like
Gameplay,
it needs to be, the things
Gameplay
there.
Is king, right?
But this is the first step, and this usually takes quite some time, because this is when we actually figure out like a good flow of the whole, in this case, the outpost. Like, how can we run through it without getting stuck on everything? And like, if we want to reach this room, how do we make sure the path is clear and everything like that?
Should we go to like the door that leads inside, and we can just fly through it and kind of talk about what each of the rooms are and how we kind of envisioned it?
Yeah. So as I said, like this one is a specific mining one. So the first thing you go through here, you see that some of the screens are still here, is the very smallest airlock we're going to have in a location, which is, so this is the airlock.
I mean, it's much smaller than the one on Olisar, for example.
Exactly. I think the Olisar one is like 2 or even 3 times.
I think it's almost 4 times.
Yeah, or even 4 times as big.
Like, we're here 5 times. 5 times.
Could be. 5 times. Let's go with 6.
Could be.
Sold.
Yeah. And then we come into this, like the entering room, or what we should call it, the hallway kind of in your home. So where you would, if you have a big spacesuit on to be able to survive outside on the moon, you wouldn't want to walk around in that all the time, because it's,
hanging off in a locker or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Take off your muddy space boots.
And after that, we get to the main mining room, which this would be. So this would contain the equipment they need, they use, etc., for actually being able to do or care for the mining equipment.
Yeah, this is kind of the room that defines the outpost. In this case, it's a mining equipment, so this is a mining outpost.
Exactly. Yeah. And if we're going here, this is where we place the habitation in this one. So this one is a specific to independent miners, which means there's no big corporation behind it. There's like something, a few guys or persons or whatever started. Yeah, exactly. They started up as like, we want to start mining on this moon because we can get X amount of this. I actually don't know what they get on this specific moon we're on at the moment.
Dust, probably.
Yeah. So they would live where they work. It would be their life pretty much.
Okay. Living quarters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
then everything else.
Like exactly.
Table, shower, window.
Everything they need in that small room. And then they would have like a small storage room, which this is what we're showing here.
It's a warehouse, basically. So I mean, that room that you just that you Jared mentioned as living quarters, it's actually also kind of the smallest that an outpost can be, because this room would contain everything that you need to set up an outpost and survive. So this, coupled with an airlock, can be your little habitat, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
maybe we'll look at that a bit later.
Yeah, that will pretty much be the smallest you can find in the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, this looks amazing, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is so, it can't be anything better. Like,
yeah. So
I feel like you're trolling us.
Nope, that's it. This is
it. This is
Thank you for watching Happy Hour Game Dev. Design a location.
This is what you're gonna find in 3.0. No. So then art takes over, and suddenly it already becomes more interesting. You see, there's like shapes, forms everywhere. It's still completely empty. Like, this still doesn't contain anything more than pretty much walls, except the airlock.
So I mean, we have different art styles as well. The art department works on that, and depending on what it is, it will look slightly different. So this is one of the art styles that defines the look of this location. But function-wise, it doesn't change anything for us. It has, if you go out in this big room and kind of hide and unhide the template tile set in this one, you will see that it has the same kind of shapes and forms. So
you see it like something you're gonna see if I just show you here. Like, you see that the walls still line up with the ending. That's because we have a width set in the template tile set, so art can do these things, which makes the room more interesting.
Yeah. And these metrics are absolutely essential to be able to create just the 150 locations that are in 3.0. People one of the most common questions we always get is, how are you going to do all of this? How are you going to make all of Star Citizen? And it's things like this. It's following metrics, then things that can grow exponentially like this.
The thing with metrics as well is that it goes also so far beyond just what we're building here, because everything from cover systems to AI navigation to the size of a box. If you have a warehouse that is 4 meters deep and you have a shelf inside the warehouse where you can place boxes, then you have to make sure that the boxes are a certain percentage of that space as well. For example, 8 boxes in a row, then each box is half a meter wide, for example. So this kind of metrics, it goes through the entire game from the size of the walls to the cover that the AI is taking. Because if it's not enough, if it's not a sufficient height, his head will stick up and he will think it's in cover, but it's not. So metrics is quite essential.
Yeah.
Now, I know you guys aren't artists; you're level designers. This is one of several art styles for Surface Outposts, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know which one this is? Which company?
As I said earlier, this is actually an independent one, so there's no company, but it's the high-tech high-tech tile set
for now. So this will come in different ones as well. Low-tech, which is, this one has kind of nice angles, and it's all kind of, it looks a little bit designed, but the low-tech one is pretty much, Mad Max, nail up a couple of wooden boards on the window. We're like, yep, that's home.
Exactly. Like, it's like in the Martian, he fixes it with just the plastic thing. It's like that's probably
low tech is what it's called, right? Low tech, and this is more high tech. So
gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but and this is still empty. As you see, like, you can't see that this is the habitation. You only see that it's 4 empty walls, and the same with the large room. There's still nothing really defining it to what it is. But the next step is still just filling filling it so it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, it's an incremental process of
Yeah.
adding more details, making sure that every pass that we do, that it doesn't interfere with the gameplay space and that it kind of fits with all the metrics that we have.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting to go there. You don't want to go to 150 locations that has like nothing in them. They're all empty, and you just walk up and it's like, oh, that was fun. You know, I saw that.
So the layer that you unhid now, it's
It's a dressing pass for the walls to make them not look so.
Dressing.
Exactly. It's like, so you see pipes, which, you know, this is starting to define, like, okay, this is a mining
From the
module.
beginning again. Just
Yeah, can we go back and forth? Show that again?
Yeah. So let's go
start
here.
an airlock.
This is, so this is the airlock. That still doesn't change because that comes as one module when we attach it. And then you come to this room, which still doesn't really show things, but
It's a bit different.
yeah. But this is where you see the big change in the mining room. If I just turn it off again, you see that.
Gotcha.
It's quite a big, like, detail change for the walls only. We still haven't even touched the floor pieces, which is, you know, what the next layer would do. So now you start to see what it actually contains. Like now we have the props here. We have a mining control panel, a small workbench, some shelves. But if we go back from the beginning, just to show you, like, so the airlock still doesn't change because the airlock is always the same functionality wherever you go. It's, you know, it's a simple room. It needs to make sure you can breathe inside of it. And here you now see the hallway. You see here, like, they place clothing. There's some boots. There's a locker for the space suit and stuff like that. This is not the cleanest of the bunch, as you can see as well, because there's like stuff laying around everywhere. Boxes, a little bit. It's like
my
old
car.
food, you know. And then you're going to this one, which I just explained a little bit. It's the mining one. So this is what actually shows you what it is, and it's the biggest room. So
I mean, what is interesting with this room as well is if you hide this layer quickly again.
yeah,
This room is pretty much 4 times the size of the
of this one.
of this room. So it's 4 of these rooms put together to create a larger room. So when it comes to the content that we put inside the room, for example, the mining station that we have in the interior props, if you want to that again, this one actually occupies 1 block of this room. So you see it occupies this corner over if you fly over there.
Yeah. So this one, right?
So this occupies this corner with all the kind of extra bits around it. So when we do this this kind of prop passing, this is how we define the purpose of rooms as well. And same thing with the habitation room, which we're going to look at later.
Yeah.
It's also fits
I can
one of
actually
these
go
kind
there.
of content slots.
So we see here, like, this contains everything you would need to survive, pretty much. You know, you have your bed, your bathroom / shower,
Oh, no, I'd hide it again. Sure.
and then So this is how it looks when there's nothing there, and then, you know, this is the prop pass, like, and the functionality pass.
So the idea with this as well is that you can also see that inside this room that, for example, the bed is a certain width, the shower is another width. As these are put together, we can choose where to put what. So, for example, the shower can go on the left side, the bed go on the right side, or the desk can go where the shower goes, and the shower goes where the desk are. So, so there's also, it looks that everything comes as one piece, but it doesn't really. You can really customize where things go as well.
I'm looking at all those Post-it notes up there.
There's a lot of them.
It's reminding me of my desk up front there.
They do say things, right? But
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
if we
I
should
mean,
go
they
too
have
close. Maybe it's in the program.
they have things, but
Let's see.
players can find them. And, you know, they can read what says on
Right,
them.
you want to look at one, Jared?
Yeah,
we
let's
can
spoil
go
a
to
Post-it note.
one.
Let's spoil a Post-it note.
Let's go to one on the floor, since I said this is a pretty messy place. So here they need to buy pens.
Cables, something, tissues.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
Deodorant tissue.
Notepads. Okay.
And notepads. Yeah. So there you see, that's one of them. The rest, you know, you should find.
You heard it here, folks, guys. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. But as like we said as well, like here you see that this is not the cleanest of the bunch because the desk is looking like insane.
Yeah, I mean, with all things like desks and chairs, it's quite interesting because it uses the item port system, which we're working on as well. So and we need to have that to make the environment usable by the AI as well. So if you imagine that you're or an AI rather is on a ship and he needs to go eat, he will pick up a tray, and on the tray there's an item port where he places his plates, and on the plate there's another item port where he places the food. So he knows where everything is, and he can play the correct animations to do everything. So even though that table looks messy, the mess actually fits into these kind of item ports. They know that it's messy in that area.
Now I know you guys are level designers. You're not the artists, and it's an important distinction that a lot of people think a level designer is the guy is the person who comes in here and makes all the art, and that's not at all what you guys do. We showed at the beginning of the show, much what you do. But I want to ask a question. It is art related. Maybe you guys know. Do we use normal maps to add details to this, or is it all just a bunch of low poly meshes? Do you happen to know? I know you're not the artist, so.
Yep, sorry. I could answer, but guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like I kind of think
we probably use what is the best and most efficient.
Almost certainly. We have our town hall later this month is with the environment art team, so we'll ask them during the town hall.
Yeah, go for it.
They'll have the answer for that.
They know exactly how that is done.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is now it's still like not finished, as you can see. It's all the props are there. The functionality is kind of there. You see the point of it.
I mean, it's kind of for us level designers. This is to the point where we really care.
Yeah.
Beyond this point, it's not so important for us because that's where the artist comes in and kind of makes everything.
Like, I mean, I'm just gonna turn on like some layers at once here to show you like what happens. But you see, like we got nice lighting now set up, and you see how it like suddenly. If I used to do this,
decals and all this stuff.
Yeah, it just like turns a lot prettier.
The particles
straight away.
Yeah, this is like the pretty paths.
Yeah, exactly. Like the particles in the air that you see, and like screens as well. I mean, you see everything like starts getting live. It's probably.
But this is where it's kind of important for the environment team. You have to have a really good environment team, which we have. That they have to be very careful of how they kind of prop out these locations. So it doesn't interfere with the gameplay space, but still looks very nice and very believable. So it's a lot of teamwork. I mean, it's in a way it's kind of unfair to divide it into like an environment team, a level design team, because one takes over exactly where the other one hands it off. So
I do want to say something about because the art team's not here. I do want to give props to the art team. What you guys are seeing on stream right now is the Outpost engine in Germany being sent to me over video conferencing like Skype, and then being sent to you over Twitch. So it still looks this good after being recycled twice over video conferencing. So props to the art team. If you pass a member of the art team, shake their hand, give them a clap on the back, because even at this low resolution scale that we're able to do this show transcontinentally, this still looks fantastic. If I do say so myself, if I'm allowed to have an opinion, I think it looks great.
Also, the layout looks pretty good, Toby.
And the layout's great, Toby. I mean, I can clearly see where every door is. I know where I walk in. I know where I walk out.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, this is as well. Like we were saying, these are the steps when it starts getting really pretty, and where we kind of like. We keep shaking over it together.
We hand it off, but we just peek in from time to time, make sure that there's no you walk through the door and there's like a giant.
Yeah. You don't want to
in front of you.
You don't want to place this in front of the door, so you walk out and you're like dunk, and I'm like, oh man, my knee, and you have to walk around hurting for a day.
Yeah. Wow. That was detailed.
Well, that's what happens at home.
I don't know whatever.
Okay. Yeah. No, but so. At this point, it literally is. I mean, we're always working together. Even the white box, they're also part of it. Like we're talking, about it. Like, so what's the current size of it? How does it fit? Do you need any extra tile set piece?
Because I mean, it's important for art as well. Because when we determine the sizes and the metrics of the location, it has to flow up to them as well. Because they are the ones who have to build the benches and the tables and the potted plants and whatever that might go into these sections, and it has to fit. If you have a wall that is 4 meters, you have to make sure that the stuff that you build actually fits that 4 meter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that transcends over to AI as well, because it needs to have the correct metrics for AI to interact with.
But this is like the perfect example of it, like what we were talking about with the metrics, because this piece by itself is 4 meters, and the smallest outpost is 6 meters in width. In total, like this one, if I just show you quickly, this one is 6 meters from there till there. And the mining module that you're seeing here, just the middle piece is 4 meters, and then these on the side that come like they're supposed to be together, like you see it here, is in total 6 meters. So if we wanted to, we could just place one of these in one of the absolute smallest outposts, and that would be the only thing fitting in there.
Yeah.
But it still follows our metrics, so we can do it.
Yeah. But you also clearly see the kind of 3 slots here, where you have a 1 meter slot on the side, a 2 meter slot, 4 meter in the middle and 1 meter on the side, and you could replace the 1 meter console with a locker, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, can we actually go into game and walk around?
Yeah,
we can.
Have you unhidden enough stuff?
Yeah.
If you've got more to show.
Let's actually unhidden one more, because I'm a bit scared of like doing it without unhidden the last one.
Okay.
So now I'm just you're gonna see that.
We should probably talk about Markup a bit as well.
Yeah.
Because that is where things.
So this is where it becomes like gameplay to it, which is this would be almost it's part of the last steps before a location is actually good to get to the player's hands.
I mean, right now it's an empty shell. There's nothing. There's no atmosphere. There's nothing in this location. So there's always like a final step that you have to do on the location, which is the markup step, where you define the room shapes and you define what kind of atmospheric composition this outpost have, because we do it pretty detailed. I mean, it has oxygen, nitrogen, and all the noble gases and stuff. So,
exactly. So you see, like the thing I'm having selected here, for example, that's our room system, which contains then a breathable atmosphere in this one, because this one should be functional. You should be able to live here. Which means, it needs to have atmosphere that you actually can breathe in without a helmet, because you don't want to go to bed with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Not if you can avoid it.
But no, exactly. So
I mean, it's also these volumes that define the room and the atmosphere. It's also to such a level that if you will break the window, it would decompress the room at the correct rate because it knows the volume of atmosphere in the room.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like the last steps is we go in and start adding those things, and we also start adding. Let me actually go this way to show you. So here you see it's just literally a blue sphere, and that's it. What you see, but this is part of our subsumption mission system that I think there's been like some ADVs about it. I've seen some of them where they talk about that, and this is part of how that is being used. So this blue sphere tells, okay, here something can spawn. It can be a box with food, or you need to deliver a box of food to this location. This is one of the places it can.
It's a spawn point for.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all of those, and that's part of where we need to go in as well and make sure like there's nothing in the way. You don't want this to spawn inside the wall, for example, because then the player would get the mission and he would look at the box and be like, well, that's I can't touch that, and that's the issue. No, exactly. But now we could jump into game here.
Is it gonna crash?
No, I don't think it's gonna crash, but I might.
Gonna crash.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say maybe I fall though. It's like,
yeah, you. I think you broke a leg.
Yeah, I did.
Entering reality is always an uneasy experience.
It's true.
It's fine. But now you see we're inside of it.
Stop and have a look at the room. You see all the nice particles and stuff.
Yeah, but it's really dark.
It's fine that it's dark. It's okay. It's space.
Yeah, exactly.
It's atmospheric is the word for it.
See, he knows better English than us.
Yeah, that's very true.
Only marginally.
It's kind of everything.
But now you see we're walking around. We can see everything. We have
look at that nice view.
Of
this
this planet.
That's a proper planet.
Yeah, that
moon.
Is a proper moon. Exactly, it's a moon.
Keep our definitions correct. It's pretty dark though.
I know. We keep referring to them as planets, but these are moons. Yes. I've done it like twice this show alone.
Just called stellar bodies.
Yeah, but let's also show so the absolute last step that happens is that if we hide some
exterior bits, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So now we start like this, as you see suddenly the
outpost. Maybe we should zoom out a bit before you unhide it, because people didn't really. I think I was told you were unhiding there.
This is how it looks, like plain. You don't really see anything from the outside.
But you can clearly see the modular kind of rooms look. And
yeah, exactly. You see that this is like one piece. This is one. Here you have it. Here you have it. It's very clear to see. And metrics as well. These are also following metric.
Yep.
Like all the what do you call it? Holes?
Legs.
Like legs follow the metric, so they're wide enough to be a cover. Like stuff like that.
Everything is interconnected.
Yeah. And then when we start adding, actually to define it, you see there's some pipes here, for example, that controls the atmosphere. That makes sure that you can actually breathe in there.
It's filters and things.
Yeah.
And then you have communication antennas and
solar panels.
So I mean, this is not fluff. So we don't really want any of our locations to have fluff, in the sense that it's something that is just there for being pretty in this case. So everything should have a purpose. So if you look at an outpost like this, you could be quite far away and you can look at this outpost from exterior and you can see what it has. You go, okay, it has solar panels. That's probably how they generate power. It has a communication antenna. It has ventilation. It might have some defense turret or something in the future, and then you can, based on that, quickly identify what's also inside. Because if it has maybe moisture extractors, it might have an hydroponics inside, or if it have a communication antenna, it might have some kind of communication room inside. And it also becomes interesting when you look at the gameplay aspect, because you can plan an assault on an outpost knowing what you should take out first. Probably should maybe take out the power generation first, because that might, disable their turrets or their defense shields or whatever they might have. So it all has kind of a gameplay purpose.
Or I mean, you take out the air, and they're like, if they don't have helmets,
if they don't sleep in their helmets,
Yes,
exactly.
Decompression is one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
it's the best way to die.
Yeah, and then as the last beautiful step,
It's not just beautiful. It is functional.
It is functional as well.
I just had a big speed of function. You got beauty right away. It's just...
Well, you bring up
I'm an artist.
Bring up a good point though. A location is more than just the outpost, right?
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the thing as well. Like every department has a stake in this. Like everything from the system designers who define like the combat AI and everything, all the way to level design and particles and environment art. Like everything has to fit together. That's also why it takes a bit of time to do these things sometimes, because you have to figure out all these steps and make sure that you don't miss anything on the way. Because it would kind of suck if you reach this point to be released 3.0 and people go like, oh, crap, we forgot about that. Then you have to redo everything.
So I mean, everything is here, like sound as well. It's one of the things. Like I don't think you can hear it over the stream, but when the doors open and stuff like that, when I was in game, you hear the sound of it.
You can jump in game, right? You can go break a leg again.
Okay.
Yeah, I can probably break a leg.
I want to address something. Folks in chat who are asking questions like, can the outpost be affected by EMP and stuff like that? Those are gameplay questions. These guys are level designers.
No, I mean, we know quite a bit of that as well. So if you have any question, you can always put it that way and we can like try to answer it, because EMP will affect the
No, it's fine. If you happen to know the answer, that's great.
I won't say anything more. I'm fine.
It's all right. But yes. Okay. So answer you answered the EMP question. So surface outposts can be affected by EMP.
EMP will affect environments. I can say that much.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they can hear any sound. But there was sound when I was cycling the airlock and stuff like that. Yeah. But it doesn't really go through.
So this is you have some mines to the left there, and this is basically a small mining. Well, it's a medium-sized, I would say, medium-sized mining outpost, because it has
we have
quite a bit of
ones.
Interior space. So, and of course, as you saw on CitizenCon as well, we're not going to show that now, but I mean, the entire when we did the first design proposal for the surface outposts, the idea was always to have them at some point be in the hands of the players as well. I mean, we want to have player-driven content. That's also the idea, and that's you saw it on CitizenCon as well with the announcements we did.
Yeah, exactly.
So another interesting aspect of doing the surface outpost, as Tobias mentioned in the beginning, is that it is the very smallest of what we will have in the game. One airlock and that little living quarters. That is the smallest thing that we will place on a surface.
Show you, like if we were to cut this off here, that's the smallest you could find.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard on the moon to find it, but you can.
Yeah. I mean, also because we also wanted to explore the two extremes. We have the smallest, we have the biggest, which is the cities, the Levskis and the Lorvilles and the Area 18s. Those are the biggest. We want to see what the two extremes are, because then it makes it easier for us to fill up the middle bits afterwards. What does a village look like? What does a town look like? What does a kind of surface outpost and a city look like? So once we have all those things, it makes it much easier for us to build the universe.
Yeah. So
now, of course, you work on more than just surface outposts, right? As a level designer.
I guess we should tell people what we're doing now that we're like 35 minutes.
Now we told you how we build this one.
Yes, so
we don't do anything else.
We mostly fly around the editor and look at things.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, as level designers, what we do is we design pretty much every location that you will visit in the game, not planets and not ships. So the planetary surface is done by the planet team, and the ships are done by the ship team. But everything else, from surface outpost to truck stop to Grimhex to Levski to Area 18s, Lorville, all of that stuff is designed by the level design team in Frankfurt.
I mean, with a PU level design team, I guess it's like that.
In PU, of course.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
is a separate team.
You said truck stops.
Did I? No.
You said truck stops.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Pretty sure you did.
Okay.
I mean,
is that a?
Yeah.
Hold on. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's in the office yet. I think I can get away with this.
Okay.
Hello.
Should we do some?
Chris, can we
can-
show truck stops? Say nothing if it's okay. There's like
All
nobody
right.
here. I think maybe.
Okay, let's have a look
It's
then.
fine
Well,
then.
first
Then
we
like,
can see how big
maybe.
the pilots are.
exactly. I'm gonna show you like something on the way to it.
Okay.
So first of all, you're gonna see this is actually, oh,
It's
okay,
broken.
it's a bit broken just
You're
because
broken
I showed
about
it. But this is actually one of the, moons.
That's a terrible thing to show.
I don't know why it's broken though. It worked when we tested.
Nope.
And then,
Oh,
that
that was a quick fly up from the surface.
yeah, you're not gonna be able to fly that quick.
No.
That's also something to tell. We're actually doing this in editor, and
Yeah.
and things in the editor tends to behave a little bit different than in pure game. So
Yeah, exactly.
because
There's different.
as you jump in and out of game, we do the control G, which puts you into first person to run around, and it's just the nature of the game. It just kind of loses a bit along the way, just like we all do with age.
Our
Good example.
I just want you to know, literally, without humor or sarcasm, our legal counsel just walked in and stared at me for about 5 seconds. As I was yelling, why are you yelling for Chris? I'm like, sorry.
They're like,
He's
why are you
sweating
talking
off
about
his
truck
mouth.
stop?
So I mean, yeah.
But
we actually
something,
have,
in SitCon, we showed you this. Like,
Yeah.
you've seen this part.
we
Like,
landed on this little platform.
we landed here. And he walked off and did,
This was
the
another
incredible jump.
was another truck stop though, but
Yeah.
yes,
So, but the same concept
same
of it.
different.
And he also went in here and then he stopped. So what we're gonna actually do is show you how it's gonna be in one of the interiors of it.
Which is also modular.
Exactly. So here is the elevator
Just
room,
control
which
you here
is
maybe, and then just run around like that, or is it, am I doing like this improvised feature requests now live?
maybe no, it should be fine. So
If it's not fine, you can blame me.
so the thing is, like, I mean, you've seen our planets and you've seen the size, and this, like, we had to rewrite a large part of the game editor to handle that stuff.
Mhm.
And that's still like stuff, being done. And that's why, like, whenever we jump into game in something close to a planet, we need to think about
The
it.
lumberyard is not really made for like jumping in onto a spherical body with gravity.
No.
Exactly. So we have to we have to work in a special kind of workflow, which
See
is
from the beginning.
yeah, which makes this work,
Yeah.
So
I
I just
mean-
had to check I did that before.
We always had our disclaimers because we're so insecure. No, we're not. This is the entry room where you arrive when you land on landing pads. You take an
Yeah.
elevator and you arrive in the lobby area.
Mhm.
You see,
And it's not fake. I mean, it's an actual elevator that takes you here. So
yeah, and then you go into this like main hub area.
still work to be done, but
Yeah, I mean, this is one of our truck stops. So
Yeah.
it's nice. You see, it got some shops as well. And let's actually walk around here. So let's see.
Mhm.
So, who has some more shops?
Now a lot of these shops players will be familiar with already. There's live fire weapons,
Yeah.
which there's one on Portal Asar.
that's where you can stash your drugs.
Or something not illegal.
Drugs have to be illegal. I mean, I took a headache pill before.
That's very true.
You're watching the last broadcast of Jared Discolando Huckaby. I hope you've enjoyed it.
So, and here you see a really nice view. That's all.
Yeah. So also with this truck stop, they follow kind of the same idea as we do with the Surface Outposts, that they are modular. We have different types of rooms that all slot together and kind of builds the layout. You can see that the elevator room, for example, it slots onto the main hub area, which you're in right now. And then we have these kind of bridging portals in between them. And the same thing with these. These are also the layouts. I don't think we actually have it right here. But the layouts of these are actually built with the template tilset as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we put everything together with the same tool and then go through exactly the same process as we did with the Surface Outposts.
So this is the interior of what we didn't show on SitCon, pretty much.
So there's something there. Yes. I mean, there's maybe it's like one more thing we can show.
Yeah, there's one more.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes left in the show, guys. We're almost done.
Okay, go down to the Surface Outposts again, or just maybe have a look at a little bit of.
Should I just jump down there?
As we told you,
So this is I'm back.
these Surface Outposts and space station, they're not just empty shells. They're actually a connection between the player and the environment. So of course you will be able to interact with it. And we showed you how we were kind of unhiding all these layers with the lights and things. And of course, these outposts will have power, and each light bulb will be a power consumer. And of course, if you take out the power system of an outpost, it will stop working. And the same thing, if you then repair it, it will start working again. So I can show you a little bit of how that would look like.
Actually, I'm going to show you. So you see, it's very like. See, this corner is very dark, for example.
Yeah, just like the lighting right now.
Yeah, and you see this room is completely dark, and here we have an actual power module. That's, of course, suddenly doesn't react.
Just have to open the...
Let's see if we can do this, or if we need to jump in another game. Maybe it was because probably because we visited Truck Stop.
It's a bad idea. Whose idea was that?
Yeah, I don't know. I blame Jared. Fine.
Poor Jared.
That's what happens. Yeah, I said I can't do shows before noon, man. I don't get started before noon. It's like, so none of this is on me.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing?
I'm starting in the ceiling, apparently.
There was a person in chat earlier, about 10, 15 minutes ago, that says, wow, this looks pretty much done. You guys should just release to PTU. This looks ready. You are seeing a little bit of why that is not the case right now. So I said 3.0 is still in active development. 3.0 is still in active testing with our wonderful Evocati members. Trust me, we want it out to PTU just as much as you guys do. We will do it when we think it's ready.
And also something that is important.
There we go.
Just because something looks ready doesn't mean it's ready, because there's everything from audio to visual effects to markup. All that stuff goes in. So here's a kind of a
like dark
fuse, I guess, or power supply.
Yeah,
that we put
exactly.
Into.
Now this is gonna be.
Well, that is the first time we've ever seen a component put into a component slot.
Yeah, and now you also see there's lights everywhere.
Yep.
It's suddenly become very bright again.
Yeah, it's basically working. So yeah, I mean, this kind of interaction is what we're looking at every stage, from atmosphere to power to lights to gravity, if it's a space station, for example. So you will be able to interact with all these things. And
on multi-crew ships, when the components are damaged and you have to run to the back of the ship to replace the shield generators or the gravity generators and whatnot, you just saw an example of how that's going to work.
Exactly. This is, I think, it's first time we're showing the power system.
Yep.
First time play.
That was the first. That was the first time we showed the power system in action. That was the first time we showed the components, the item 2.0 component system in play.
Do you think it's spoiled something? I don't think.
I think so. I mean, maybe
Jared
a little.
Approved, right? I think maybe Jared approved.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm probably going to get to keep my job now.
Yep.
Maybe.
So,
it's always day to day.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a little look into kind of how the smallest part of our game is put together, the Surface Outpost, with a little bit of a hint to the truck stop and the power system in this case.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot that goes into designing a location, and we could probably make I shouldn't say this, we can probably make like a 4-hour special on how to build a location. You know.
Welcome to the level design special. Put 6 up, full. What do you call it? Follow them for a full day.
Yes.
Hey, don't give me any ideas. I got to do one of these every single week. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps us up. Can you believe it? It's already been 45 minutes.
And no questions for us? No?
I think.
Let's see. Yes. Do you have any idea when your next free weekend will be? What?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably more for you than for us.
Yeah. I noticed there was a
3
module.
weekends, what's that?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So, guys, thank you so much for taking your time to be on the show this week. I told you it'd go by fast.
Yeah, that's very true, because like I didn't even notice.
Yep,
like,
no,
time.
45 minutes. That's what I promised you.
Yeah.
For folks watching at home, couple housekeeping tips. We're happy hours are back weekly. They were bi-weekly for a while, but we are back weekly. Next week's show will feature Britton Watkins and Sherry Heiberg. We'll be talking about the Xi'an language, so come back for that next weekend. We'll be back to our normal 12 p.m. PST running time. Lots of questions about the anniversary celebration. We always do a number of things for our anniversary. That information is forthcoming. What I can tell you now is to keep keep an eye out on our weekly newsletter that goes out on Fridays. You'll find information about what's going on for our anniversary there. With that, thank you for watching Happy Hour Game Dev. I'm Jared Huckaby, Community Content Manager for Global Video Production here at Cloud Imperium Games. Joining us live from Frankfurt was lead level designer Andreas Johansson and level designer Tobias Johansson. Thank you so much for making time out of your days. I know this is Friday. It's at the end of your day. You're like, I'm almost going home. And I'm like,
it was good fun.
I kept you for one more hour to be here, so thank you so much. And if you ever have anything more to show, you're like, you just send me a message on Skype, like, hey, Jared, you got another happy, you got another
Tobias
one of those
will be
happy
happy
hours?
to show you lots of stuff, right?
Another one of those happy hours? I got some more stuff to show. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. All right, guys. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.